Hey guys, we are excited to start this month off. Actually, I was even thinking this morning, I actually got my license, I think it was February 23rd or 24th. So, Boone will start the same month officially as mom. So, we are pumped about that. I think he's really excited. Obviously, Boone has definitely loves the video side of things, so y'all will definitely start to see more of that. We know that it is super helpful, and want to try to, I don't know what his plan's going to be, once a month. I don't know. We want to try to do something. But we're going to try to do, if it's question and answer, a little tidbit. Definitely since last year, I have watched a ton of things change in the market. We've had a ton of out-of-state buyers. Did a video last year, almost a year ago, that proved to be a huge help for a lot of people buying. A ton of that information is still true. A lot of it has changed. One of the things I think for me is I definitely had a little bit more time to be able to go. One of the things I was able to do that I started doing for a lot of buyers is being able to go view homes, do videos, do some drive-by scenarios of, the roads leading to the houses, because that's the thing. We can look at pictures all day long and stuff looks fantastic, but then you do not like the road. So what I'm starting to see even this year, in the last 6 months even especially, I don't even hardly have the time to get over there, get that done. One, because the showing appointments fill up super fast, so we're stretched for time there. That is obviously I was knowing 6 months ago, a year ago, that I definitely needed some help. So I have trudged on with zero help all this time, and so now Boone is going to be able to step in and take over that role. So we'll put him on the road, going to showings, going to do drive-bys, do things like that. So we'll have two extra hands on deck that I'm super pumped about. So, but one of the things that we thought, or I have known all along, is the more information we can give y'all, the better you're going to be, the more success you're going to have in this purchase, especially if this is a purchase from afar. And that is definitely whenever I have my buyer consults, whenever I'm meeting with these buyers and they're making these huge plans to move across country, there has to be a plan in place. And so we've done that. We've done it super successfully. But even with that, there's definitely been a change. I actually have two families here right now that did exactly what I told them was really needed, which is, you've got to get your home sold or be in the last little stretches of, your home closing, whether it's, out of state, wherever, if there's a contingency to sell. So that's not even, we have even right now there, if you have a contingency to sell a home, you're not even a player in the game. So we have some that have officially fully closed on their homes. They get here, and they're here, and either one looking for a rental, which is not easy. So I say, if this is something that's, on your list of things to do, that process now has to start much sooner. You've got to get your hands on a rental. We have several doing Airbnbs. I actually have two families here right now staying in an Airbnb. And more than likely, they're going to have to stay longer than they planned because we're not finding something, or we're finding things and we're putting offers in, but we're not getting them. So the whole idea of these videos are one to help you all. And we're just going to kind of lay it out there as to, this is what we're seeing, or this is what we're seeing right now, which is different than what we saw last year. So, and of course, Boone's kind of taking all these things in and wrapping his brain around what he's getting ready to roll into as a new agent. So anyway, that's kind of what the goal and the point of our little TED Talks are going to be. We'll have another agent here tomorrow going over some stuff. So
then what is it that's changed so much?
we definitely have less inventory than last year, with more buyers. So it's really just a supply and demand situation. And I think probably the bigger thing too is, and I definitely have had people say, we're seeing more cash offers than we've ever seen. Before you would maybe have one. Now there's 4 and 5 in the mix of these 15 offers, on each of these houses. So I think that's probably one of the top things to remember is, and I think too, I can read, I get these emails of, people letting me know what their hopes and their dreams and what they're wanting is. And they are all pretty much the same. It's like they've written it together. And I'm like, did I not just read this yesterday? So everybody wants the same thing. So obviously we've got 15 people wanting that same type house. So you've got that competition. I think probably one of the bigger things is I've been a little stunned and a little surprised at how many, obviously you get over list price on all of these listings. But, before 5 and 10 or 15,000 over list price, you would get the job done. It's not getting the job done right now. So that is then making people have to step back, and if they had a $350,000 budget before, we could put our criteria search all the way up to 350 almost, and now it's not quite like that. We really are probably needing to truly look at that 3 to 325 or under price point, even though we're a 350 buyer. So that's been a little tough for sure. But I think if you know it going into it, and it's totally not that, it's not the realtor being the super salesman, trying to just sell you something or tell you a story. It's not that at all. And all it really takes is a couple of rejections, and you realize it, you learn it. So I've definitely had people in that boat, and they're heartbroken, and they're sad, and they're, it just stinks. So just know that a plan is critical, even more critical than before. And if you need to probably plan on getting here, or obviously, I have people that make the decision from afar. No worries, no concerns. If that's not you, you have got to get here and get in a rental or an Airbnb and just sit tight. Plan to be here for a little while before we come across anything. And I think that's kind of the scary part is I have those 2 families here right now, and they had an Airbnb for a month and felt like that was going to be enough time, and it's not. We do not have either one of them in a home. They both are originally came and said they were a 250 or under buyer, which is tough. It's super tough. As we've continued to look, they've let me in on a little more and said, actually, we could probably be in the 300 range. Honestly, we really need to know that up front to try to make it work. So they're going to have to extend their Airbnb. I think one of the other things, like I said, these little videos are probably going to be, they're going to be a little bit all over the place, and they're going to kind of just, it'll be an ebb and flow, because I think everything changes. Like I said, I think one of the things definitely, I think you automatically know that every state is different in how they do things. But I think for me, one of the things I've learned this year is the processes being so different in different areas. So it's good for you all to know, even just down to, I've had more out-of-state buyers kind of be in a panic because they're not hearing from, well, they refer to it as escrow, the escrow company, as we call it, the title company. They're not hearing from them immediately, and that's what they're used to. As soon as they go under contract, they're used to hearing from the title company. Well, that's not how we do it here. Usually don't hear from the title company, for a little while. And I've explained that to them, which they totally understand, but initially in the beginning they're thinking someone's dropping the ball, something's not getting done, and that's the differences in the types of contracts. I've had many people, I'm pretty sure it's California, they have a 3-day period from the time you go under contract that if they were to choose that they want to back out or walk away, they can, as opposed to here, you have an inspection period. We don't have a 3-day period that you just get to change your mind. That's what you're making that call and making that decision, when you're looking at a house. So we definitely I've learned those things. Luckily, I've not had anyone want to do that, but they've brought it up beforehand and said, hey, well, if we were to not like this, we've got 3 days to walk away, right? No. So you have your inspection period and you have your contingencies if we've chosen those contingencies in our Tennessee contract. And that's your only ways, if you were to have issues with your financing, if there were to be an issue with a home inspection that you're not happy with, obviously you have that opportunity. But that's another thing to think about. With all these offers, many of these people are waiving home inspections. I never recommend to waive a home inspection. If someone wants to do that, that's totally fine. We'll talk through that. I'm never one to recommend it, just because it's dangerous, I think. But so you have those things, and I have just recently had someone, we did not have a great home inspection, and they just could not move forward. So of course, that's all legal and fine, and that's the regulars and the typical in our state of Tennessee contract. So those two things I've learned that an out-of-state buyer is expecting is sometimes they think they have that 3 days to change their mind, something else better came along, or they just got cold feet. It's not that easy. We don't have that here. And then also that not to panic if you're not hearing from the title company on day one. They usually do not poke up until at least a week or two. I think after everyone's a little different, but it's not immediate. So that's one of the things, something to remember. I'm trying to remind myself, I'm trying to make all these notes as each time I work with someone new to just educate, because I think that's definitely education and communication is the key to keep everybody happy, and because it's scary. It's a huge purchase, and then you don't know what's going on. So those are all things to think about and make plans for. So that's a biggie. That was, kind of an eye-opener for sure to make sure everybody's on the same page there, because I'm naturally just trucking along, used to how our title company handles things. I mean, even down to, for the first time I had someone upset over certain title fees that they felt, and in their state of Alabama, several other states that they've bought homes in, that's 2 different charges, which were probably about $2,000 worth of charges. A title, insurance title, a owner's policy, was one of them. That a seller typically covers that cost. That's part of a seller's closing cost in multiple states they had bought homes in, and that is not the case here. So there was a little, surprise and hiccup at the very end, that's what they were used to in 3 other states that they've bought homes in. So things to remember, things to talk about. Those are things that you want to ask your realtor, and things that I now, after having it happen one time and making sure everybody understands going into it. We've got some notes here of...
Lots of people want the exact same thing.
Yes.
Every phone call sounds the exact same.
Boone listens to me talk.
A lot.
All day long. Every day.
A whole
lot. And I say the same thing over and over. That's why we said, while we made the video last year to get these things out, I've created email templates because I say the same thing over and over. And that's why when I say to you, there have probably been times that I've maybe not responded to an email because it's so much like someone else that I am sure that I already read it and I thought I responded. Hence why I have to have some help. So we're going to tag team that, but that is just the example of how so many of these things are the same. I think a lot of it comes from if it's videos or things that these out-of-state people, lots of out-of-state buyers are watching, and they're seeing a lot of the same thing, and they're like, that's what we want. That's what we want. I definitely have had some people change their mind when they get here, and they're kind of like, I really don't have to have chickens, which I said that last year. The whole, we need 5 acres, we need to homestead. Actually, the agent that we'll be talking to tomorrow, she and I both have very much gotten tickled before over what exactly are we doing homesteading? What exactly are they wanting? And some of it is not even that. It's just that they want a little bit of space and a little bit of room, only to realize we totally have that without being, 5
Cattle
acres.
farmers.
Yeah. We don't have to do that. And the bigger thing is if you don't have a pretty nice budget, you're not going to get that acreage. So I would just as soon us nip that in the bud right now and know what we've got ahead of us. Because that is it. That's the most typical thing, even down to which tomorrow we'll get into a little bit more with Anne, because she does a lot of land listings. Is I get a lot of the emails and questions about they want to know if they can have a house on there. Is there about things like septic? Like a typical email at times have been, can you find out if I can get a septic on there and what I can do? Well, that's something that happens after you go under contract on that particular property. You have to do all those inspections unless it was done prior. And if it has, they've got it listed in their information. Otherwise, that's our job to find all that out. I'm not going to be able to answer that question for you before you pull the trigger and write that contract.
So we kind of covered some of the basics, and I'm sure tomorrow's video will be pretty interesting with Mama Drake and everything. So you'll get to watch that one, and it may be in the same video. We haven't really decided what exactly we're gonna do with this stuff. We may be doing a podcast, a video podcast. We may just be doing these update videos. We haven't really decided what kind of style or anything like that we want to do, but it'll be more consistent. It won't just be like, hey, here's a video, maybe we'll make another one in about 14 months. Yeah. So just keep an eye out for that, and we'll be probably back tomorrow, or maybe it's in the same video. I don't really know yet. We're just kind of figuring it out as we go, just like pretty much everything else.
Yeah, we just want to educate and really everybody. I think that's one of the things Boone and I talk about a lot is, and I find myself talking to other realtors. I mean, this morning before I even got here, of course, I had 2 buyer phone calls, 1 realtor, just a couple things. One that's thinking, I think I want to leave my brokerage, all the things that go with those things. And I get those calls, and I love those calls because that's really just who I am. I mean, I don't know. I think I definitely love the side. I love the real estate side. I love all of the things that I'm doing. And also am an encourager. I love to encourage other realtors, anybody do anything. So I think that's one of the things Boone and I talk about over and over. And I spend so much time, equally, almost the same amount of time, getting buyers and hearing the same stories and making plans for them as I do, agents. And the crazy thing is I have some of these agents from afar, even just with the video, with Instagram, with Facebook, I've made a ton of connections with, just like I have with out-of-state buyers, with out-of-state agents. And so literally mentored a sweet little agent from Nashville from afar, for quite some time. And so I do love that. And so back to this whole talk about, do we do a podcast? Do we do some YouTube video, or just video in general that we put on Facebook? It's kind of going to be a plethora of things. I want it to be for other realtors. If it's going to help somebody else, if it's that you find yourself, that's definitely the thing is, for sure a community over competition kind of girl. And you just do better when you have, a circle, a good group of people around you, that you can share things with. I mean, Boone has already definitely picked up on, like he mentioned, Ann this morning. Ann Drake is definitely, she's my hall partner. We talk every day. It is really important to have other realtors and people, that you can link arms with and just share, whether it's great things or not so great things, and we learn from each other. So that's kind of where some of this all is going to mesh together. Boone's going to take on a role for sure, helping me real estate wise, and then that we can then now add this to the mix and be of help to each other, be of help to all of these buyers and sellers and other realtors. So whatever that looks like, we don't know yet. So you'll be right along this ride with us, and we're just excited.
Yep, figuring it out.
Yep, it's a thought and a little dream, and so just stay along for the ride, and it should be fun.
Yeah.
So y'all have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.